Okay, Otter, this is what we're going to do first. I'm going to do this on a super miniature scale, but we're going to pretend that this piece here is your whole gigantic piece of fabric that Brandon just brought home. So you'll want to lay it out on your floor. So first we're going to cut the hood off. So I'm going to pretend that this is going to be my hood. You can measure it out however you want. The length from here to here is going to be how far it comes forward on your face, because this part here is going to be the part that's up against your face. So I'm going to cut that off and I'll be right back. Okay, now we have that part cut off. So you're going to take it and fold it in half, just like that. Okay, I'm working with cotton, so I'm just going to give it a quick press so that we can keep working with it. Now we're going to go over to the machine. Okay, I've got it folded in half and I'd pressed it. You don't have to press fleece. It works pretty well. This is the way our hood is going to lie. This top fold is the very top of the hood. Here is your face and here is the back seam of the hood. I'm going to sew in bright orange so that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to sew from the top here down to the bottom and back stitch at the top and the bottom just to make sure that my stitches hold. So I've just sewn from the top down to the bottom and back stitch both times just to make sure that they're going to hold. And then we are going to flip it inside out, which is proving to be very difficult to do one-handed. Hang on. And here is the point at the top of the hood. And like I said, with fleece, you don't necessarily have to finish your edges. If this were a regular cotton cloak, I would turn the edges of this and finish it off. So here is our hood. There's the top, there's the back. Now you can figure out how far you want this to come forward. Again, this is just an estimate. I just chopped off a piece, but you can figure out, if you do some measurements, how far you want this to come forward and how long you want it in the back. This is turning out to be just a little bit long, so I'm going to chop off the bottom of this from here down just to make it look more to scale. Okay, I trimmed off the bottom. So here's our little hood, and we're just going to set this aside for now. Now we're going to go back over to the piece that is left over, and I'm going to show you how to construct the basic cape part. First, we need to get a measurement of our hood base. You're going to measure from here to figure out how long this is, because this might need to be gathered in a little bit based on the measurement around the shoulder, how you want this to lay on the shoulder. So you're going to gather your measurement just around like Brandon's shoulders. Do you want the hood to just go around the neck, or do you want it to come down on the shoulders? It's up to you. Whatever that number is, we need to make this come down to that size. Since I want to gather this a little bit, I know I told you to set this aside, but I'm kind of winging this and I'm still in my pajamas, so bear with me. I need to bring this down just a little bit so that it will gather at the back. The best thing I have found to do for this, especially on fleece, is just make a very, very wide basting stitch, and then I'll show you what to do after you do that. Okay, so there's my very wide basting stitch that I made along the bottom. You can see my little tails here. I made the one thread green and the one thread orange so we could tell them apart. You're going to grab just one of these little tails and give it a little tug. I'm going to try to do this while I keep videoing, but I don't know how well that's going to work out. And that is going to give us our little gather. There, I hope that actually videoed that and not my boobs, because I was holding the thing up under my chin. So if you pull on just one of those little threads, it'll give you the little gather that you need at the back of the hood so that it's not completely straight. I then tie these little threads in a knot so that they don't slide around. Okay, I got my little hood all straightened around, so now I need to find out what my measurement is. I'm going to go with 3 inches. Now I need to make this be 3 inches. So we're going to do the same thing on here that we did here by just sewing a wide stitch and then pulling it to shrink it down. So I made my very, very wide stitch. You can do this by hand too. It goes fairly quickly, especially on fleece. Left my tails. I'm going to tie one tail in a knot, and then I'm going to work with this tail. Okay. So measure it to make sure you've got about the same width. And we're going to call that okay. Okay, because I'm working with cotton and cotton is fussy, especially on this tiny little scale, I'm just going to press this really quick. And then we're going to line up this to our hood. Okay, it was way too difficult to video doing this while I did it. What I did is I took my little cape that now I've pulled down to match the distance of the hood, and I've pinned the hood to it from here to here, from end to end. Just like that. And now I am going to sew them together from here to here. Okay, I've got that all stitched down. Don't mind my crooked sewing here. I'm doing this fast. And please do not tell Susan that I sewed over my pins, because she will come over here and punch me in the head. So there's our little cape. And voila. Look at that. Just like that. You've got a little cape. The first thing you're going to want to do is just measure. Measure Brandon, measure yourself. Figure out how big you want this part. Figure out, once your hood is off, how it's going to lay back like this. What you can do is you can put a little clasp from here to here, or you can put strings where they tie. All sorts of possibilities on this, but that is a very, very basic way to just make a cape with a hood out of just squares. Very easy to do. The little strings, you can fish it through here and make it a drawstring, or you can just attach on the end here so that they tie. I've got a couple little buckles. These are very cheap. I get them at Walmart. Super cheap. They're just little fabric covered hooks, and you just sew them on the ends. You'd have to do it by hand, but you can put them right on the sides here and here, and then it just closes together. And these, again, super duper cheap. There you have it. Very, very basic, very simple cloak. You could probably have it done in less than an hour. Love you.